really hope that the angels are with us, America, as I offer us a brand new presidential speech to reach to our hearts and allow us to know that heroism will bring the DD, the great DOD, to the great DD, the direct democracy. Direct democracy came from Greece, and Greece is what influenced the founding fathers for direct democracy in progress, which is representative democracy. Direct democracy, in essence, in full, is kind of hard to do. In honesty, to vote for everything is possible with technology, and that's going to take some time. And in that evolution, in that progress, I promise to do my greatest effort to introduce nothing controversial, nothing new, which is the follow-up with representative democracy, which is the independent America in direct democracy at the level that we're allowed to produce today. If and as I do become your president, and as the only 32-year-old that's not 35 yet, that has actively been running for office, I believe since I was 18 years old, we will introduce a simple philosophy. When we the people together vote for initiatives that I propose, we get what we want. When bills are passed to me, instead of going through politicians and lobbyists, I'll let us the people know exactly what's on my desk. And I'll let us know some basic information so that we can make up our minds. It will be a universal national vote, not county to county, state to state, but I believe we will have our own gadgets, and it will be a retina, and we will be able to vote for whatever bills you want me to pass or veto, which is to say no. And you will allow me to know which initiatives I propose that you want me to sign for and go with or veto. So the American people literally make up my decisions. I believe that a good president is a humble president. I will tell you my opinion. I will tell you what I think it should be. But at the end, the decision is truly yours. We will not have to worry about election problems in voting, in electing the bills you want, or in electing the initiatives that you want. Because, well, as we remember, a vote is an election. So we will have a gadget that is basically secure. It will not be online based, and registered voters, independent, which is directly democratic, will be able to then vote for whatever you want me to vote in signing or to veto. It's going to be pretty secure. And the retina, which is the eye scan, will say that this is you, and you may have a number, which is to say, this is the bill that today I'm supposed to sign for. I will tell you what it is, and I will explain to you some information. You can research it online. You can probably have it on our own White House website or our own White House channel on TV. I guarantee that we will have government information from the defense media activity, but as well as basic information to share with you some of the greatest research that we have come up with as a nation. I am sure that without politics, we have a lot of information that we can learn from, meaning the greatest things about astronomy, the greatest things about ufology, the greatest things about cures and medicine, things about human growth and evolution, things about natural habitats, about plants, about animals, information about water, information about the elements. We will be allowed to understand how human emotions work. From the greatest information that our government has been allowed to cultivate and legally obtain. You see, I'll be able to do this because my power as an executive branch head-in-chief will not be a military power as it usually has been. The military will be self-governed and independent. I will make an executive branch that is independent from military matters, meaning that we as a people will not have to deal with a president that deals with military. The military will do what the military does and succeed that way, I'm sure. without politics. That separates the military from corporate. It makes the military its own entity. The military has everything the military needs thus far. We don't really need anything more from corporate, from the military-industrial complex. We really have enough, I think. The military will be able to do what the military does, independent from us, the people. If we want to serve, we're allowed to. And that's a good choice. However, basic citizens will not have to deal with a cabinet that involves everybody in matters that really we innocently, in a life of basic simplicity, may not want. If we just want to live a totally peaceful and intellectual lifestyle, or a lifestyle of family, or service to the community, volunteering, nonprofits, and basic grassroots movements and activism for the peace and love that we really want, the great vision. Direct democracy is really simple, guys. It's really us voting for the laws that we want, and for us to basically then veto the laws that we don't want. So when the legislative branch has a decision that I, the president, will have to make a decision for, I will let us decide. You, the people, will then be able to influence your local legislative branch, state to state, district by district, county to county, and nationally, every community will then be able to vote for what you want to happen and what you want to take away. It's not going to be because of a party situation. It will be a you situation. You will make up your own mind. This is your own America. It's our America. I cannot admit that I am smart enough to really decide on every single law in a country. Today it's pretty hard for a president to have to literally accept or sign away from every single law in a nation. And I think every president kind of has that responsibility to understand everything about a nation. Geniuses exist, guys, but to be so smart as a president, to understand everything about a nation, and to really be able to decide everything about a nation, even military matters, does not make sense. And it has never made sense in America. Let's say it's never made sense in any country at any point of any time. I'm sure that in the executive branch, over time in the United States, daughters and sons of presidents have usually thought, hey, why don't we let the people decide on these things? I don't think it's for me to have to go on a wet house lawn with Secret Service around me and have to have a private discussion with a politician to really make up my mind on some of the most important decisions that can influence the livelihood and the security and the prosperity and the comfort and the economy of thousands of people, perhaps, in some communities. I want us to decide on these things, community by community. I want us to be able to vote for the laws we want to exist and the laws we want to veto. It's pretty easy. I want us to be able to vote also for the great initiatives that you want to propose to the Senate by the Vice President, which is my best friend, Ray Ferrer. And he was a captain for Florida High Patrol. He's basically retired now. And right now he wants to be my Vice President, and he if he's able to be old enough to be my Vice President when I'm a president, then you'll be able to hear him and how beautiful his words are. He's the smartest man I've ever met, and he's the wisest soul I've really known. One of them, really. He served Florida, and he was born in, He was born in New York, but served in New Jersey. So we can definitely admire that. Or he was born in New Jersey and served in New York. One of them. Moving forward, speaking about me. Direct democracy is pretty easy, guys. It's what we want. And when we want, for example, to influence the Senate, you see, the Senate basically proposes bills. Bills are things that help us. It's not defense bills. That's the Department of Defense. The Senate are nutrition bills, comfort nurturing bills, things that help the community. And that help state to state, that help the whole nation. We will then be able to have our own platform online. And we'll have our own section of proposing your own bills. You as a person. If you've ever been to a public school and had a government class and had to sign your own bills and propose your own bills, you'll be able to do that. I hope. And I think I can do it for us. So the average American can put on the internet, basically, on a specific government website from us, the White House, things that you want to happen in America. And if you're able to cultivate a fan club, if you're able to cultivate your own movement, you can get that pitched to the Vice President. And he then will represent it to the Senate. And I hope that then the Senate will present it to the Senate and pass it. And the Vice President will pass it to me. And then I will give us, all of the people, the option whether to sign it or to veto. I also want us, the people, to help me realize how I can make this concept a better concept. I want us to help me make that a better direct democracy. I think that when we communicate with me about these ideas, for example, how do you want to make it happen that you, the citizen, influences the Senate by the Vice President? The Vice President is basically an advice giver. He advises the President, and he advises the Senate on what the people want. How do you want to reach the Vice President in direct democracy, which is to together have your own pitch to the people, your own idea, your own concept, and have the people then make your idea the number one. Maybe it will show up on White House TV, and that way, through social media, through government social media, we'll be able to advertise it, and the people will vote for it. Why not? I think that's a pretty good idea. So maybe you can help these ideas become better. As I speak, so I'm inspired. You see, we really will have a lot more power in educating the people when the executive branch is separate from the military. Putting it that way, the military can finish the job, I think, by itself, when it's not tied into the innocence of the people. Today, unfortunately, though it has been changing, and I think it had to do with it, with this projection, because this isn't the future, remember. Today, military matters involve the day-to-day citizen, especially in cybersecurity, remember that, you know? We all have a responsibility to keep our cyber network safe. Imagine a future where the military will not have to deal with the White House in cybersecurity. Doesn't that sound beautiful? It does. It means that we will have our own networks, and we will not have to deal with the huge powerhouse, for example, that certain websites involve us with in military matters. For example, Twitter today, as beautiful as it is, has military defense media activity accounts. And that's mixed with our accounts. And our accounts are also mixed with the White House accounts. I don't want that to really be in the future. Because in one website, we have military cybersecurity, executive branch Secret Service cybersecurity, and innocent civilian cybersecurity. That's not very fair competition, is it? When we deal with an international concept going all the way to extraterrestrials and their cybersecurity needs, dealing with us and their cooperation. Speaking of extraterrestrials, do you guys want extraterrestrials to walk among us and to legally be allowed to walk among us without feeling themselves like they would be ostracized, made fun of, where they could actually walk among us and not have to deal with people freaking out, taking pictures of them? I think that things like that matter. I think that when they propose to me, the president, initiatives, I will let us decide what we want to happen with those initiatives. When extraterrestrials have a certain technology that they want me to propose to the American people, let's just say a phone that is holographic. So you have a phone and the phone is holographic and you can use your hands to manifest through it, to press buttons. Now, through that, I will let us, the people, vote for whether we want that technology to be allowed to the people or not. Some extraterrestrials do not want it to be corporate. They want it to be by the public sector, and they want to be part of the public sector, involved with us. I want extraterrestrials to be treated with absolute respect and dignity, guys. And I'm sure that Hollow Earth individuals, Agarthans, are definitely to be respected by us, the people. I want us to accept a lot of initiatives that they propose. If extraterrestrials want us to allow intergalactic cruises, basically, or voyages by average citizens, I want us to allow that to be voted for. If they want slavery to be completely abolished at all levels, for all species, I think we should vote for it. If they want plants to be treated with dignity, I think we should vote for that too. I think we should allow me to lift sanctions that extraterrestrials have placed upon humanity because of a lot of human racism. Racism is not just a matter of old, it happens today. It turns out that some humans are inherently misguided in believing that humans are the superior race and that extraterrestrials with their own mentalities are not as good as us. I'm sure many of us have heard of humans that talk about ET ideas, that talk about seeing ETs in their mind, higher dimensional ETs. I'm sure that humans have understood that those individuals sometimes are ostracized from society. Some humans have contact with extraterrestrials, and some of them claim to still get sometimes prosecuted for it, and they get sent to psychiatry and mental hospitals, or they disappear into protection programs. I don't want that to happen anymore. In my presidency, I want us to decide if people will be allowed, and they will, to talk about their extraterrestrial experiences. My mom, for example, when she was alive, almost was abducted. In fact, she was in her bedroom and there was a light, bright light on the wall. And she remembers clearly that she was getting sucked out of her body. And she was forcing herself to go back into her body, and she was pretty sure that was an extraterrestrial. She had many experiences with extraterrestrials of higher dimensions, meaning they were physical but not physical at the same time. They had an ability to go back and forth. Millions of Americans, and I'm sure you have, in different states of consciousness, have had extraterrestrial experiences. I want us to be able to communicate that safely without having to deal with a racism that says that a open mind makes a different type of human. To me, being genetically modified and hyper successful and evolved does not mean that one is to be subject to be criticized, humiliated, drugged, and prosecuted as incapable of being independent and of being disabled. Extraterrestrials have walked among us and look like us, and I want them to be safe in the United States of America. When they propose bills to me, I want us to vote for them. And it is only in direct democracy that we'll be able to do that. Because direct democracy represents all species, not just human Democrats and human Republicans, or human Green Party or Libertarians. Women's rights is very important. I want us to really, really, really have initiatives that protect women. I want us to really have initiatives that protect kids in education. I want us to really protect kids to have a say in what they want to happen in school and not. So I want kids to be able, in their own direct democratic perspective, to vote in their schools for certain elements of school life that protects them through the body of basically like the class president and the power that the class president in these votes has with principals in public schools and in private schools, because these are our kids. I want them to vote together for things that happen in their schools. The Constitution is based on voting, guys. The one thing that makes the Constitution unique is that we're allowed to vote. It's not the freedom of religion, or the freedom of speech, or the freedom of press. It's the freedom to vote. That's what makes this so important. The freedom to believe what you want to believe, to think what you want to think, and to write what you want to write is normal. There's nothing exceptional about that. That's the classic thinker. It's to think. The freedom to think, guys, this is obvious. What makes the Constitution exactly important is the right to vote and the structure of voting in the government that voting represents, and the government that represents voting as election. Direct democracy to me is easy. There is one country that represents it today pretty much, and that's Switzerland. However, I want America to have its own unique and prosperous direct democracy. I want us to have one better than in Greece, one that uses technology, that uses our own purposeful, great technology that overcomes any ability for it to be hacked. I'm not influenced by any other country here. I'm influenced by my own originality for the United States of America. I do not represent Haiti or France or Germany or any other country. I do not represent any country but the United States of America. And for me, this system, I believe, will be used by every country in the future. I am not here to bring about a new government. This is simply the essence of this government made manifest. It's a constitution made real. We will have freedom of speech. We will have the freedom of whatever therapeutic religion you wish to be part of. That's fine. It's simply a body of knowledge. And you will be able to print whatever you want to print. The Constitution, however, though, will be defined. We will understand what these things mean. I am sure that we understand that in our voting, we'll be allowed to define laws in every law. And that's why the Constitution must be defined. Definition of the Constitution is simple. It leads to our own understanding of what laws mean and what makes something legal and illegal. We need to understand morality and law. These things we'll be able to vote on. We together, the people, have that ability to help me develop this system. With us, we have an open-minded element. Most importantly, military self-governance. I represent the 4th of July, the DD, the IA,